Whenever a monk dwelling thus withdrawn, recollects that Dhamma and thinks it over, on that occasion the enlightenment factor of Sati, recollection, is aroused by the monk. On that occasion, the monk develops the enlightenment factor of Sati. On that occasion, the enlightenment factor of Sati comes to fulfillment by development in the monk. Stop here for a moment. You see here the explanation of Sati. You have to be very careful because nowadays people simply give a wrong interpretation of Sati. Sati is not general mindfulness. Nowadays people like to translate Sati as general mindfulness. Here, Sati is recollection, recalling the Dhamma that you have heard. So, Sati generally refers to recalling four things, bringing to mind, recollecting four things: body, feeling, perception. Body, feeling, mind, and the Dhamma. Dhamma refers to the Buddha's teachings, not the states of mind. Out of these four, actually recollecting the Dhamma is the most important, as I mentioned before. If you want to become enlightened, there are 5 occasions of enlightenment, and 4 of them have directly to do with Dhamma. Without Dhamma knowledge, you cannot become enlightened. So here, you see, the meaning of Sati here is very different from what people interpret nowadays. So the Buddha says it is very important to come into contact with somebody enlightened like the Buddha. Because when actually we are in contact with the Buddha, even though the Buddha's physical body is no more with us, the Buddha is still around. The Dhamma he has left for us is the Buddha. The Buddha says when you see the Dhamma, you see the Buddha. When you see the Buddha, you see the Dhamma. The Dhamma represents the Buddha. You don't need his physical body, you need his teachings. So now, because we have come into contact with the Buddha, we have heard his Dhamma. So after hearing his Dhamma, we must recollect, remember, recall that Dhamma that we have heard from the Buddha. And when you recall that Dhamma, you recollect that Dhamma, that is Sati. Not mindfulness of how you walk, how you sit, that is totally nothing to the general mindfulness has nothing to do with the Sati, the Buddha Sati. Especially here, when it concerns the Bojjhanga, as a factor of enlightenment, you have to recollect the Dhamma. In this Bojjhanga, this factor of enlightenment, Sati is recollecting the Dhamma more than anything else. So when you recollect the Dhamma, then the Buddha says you develop the enlightenment factor of Sati. And on that occasion, the enlightenment factor of Sati comes to fulfillment by development in the monk. So remember, Sati is recollecting the Dhamma mainly if you want to become enlightened.